After we get done, we can answer a few questions, but I would prefer that any that might lead to any kind of speculative answers not be addressed to us. We're not going to speculate on motive or anything like that on this. Okay, and I'm just going to read to you from the statement that we prepared. This press release is to update the public on the shooting that occurred yesterday afternoon in the 5800 block of Country Meadow Drive in Gardendale. What we know at this time is that Pastor Terry Greer, 54 years of age, shot his wife, Lisa Greer, 52, and his daughter, Suzanna, 18, with a pistol. Greer's daughter was able to wrest possession of the pistol away from him and flee the residence. Ms. Greer ran to a neighbor's house, who in turn called Gardendale Police Department. In the following minutes, Pastor Greer obtained a kitchen knife and went to the bathroom, where he repeatedly stabbed himself. Responding officers located Pastor Greer in the bathroom and stopped him from stabbing himself and restrained him. All three were treated by Gardendale Fire Department paramedics and transported to UAB ER. Unfortunately, Ms. Lisa Greer expired from her wounds very early this morning, somewhere between 12:30 and 1 a.m. Ms. Suzanna Greer is stable at this time. Pastor Greer underwent surgery last night and is in stable condition and under guard. Today, the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office has issued warrants for Terry Greer for murder, $75,000 bond, and attempted murder, $60,000 bond, and he will be transferred to the custody of the Sheriff's Office as soon as we can. All right. Speaking on behalf of the Gardendale Police Department, we wish to express our deepest sympathy to the membership at Mount Vernon United Methodist Church and the Greer family. Our hope is that the church and community will support Suzanna Greer during the aftermath of this terrible tragedy. And that's all we have.
At this point, do you all have any motive as to why Pastor Greer was killed?
I think I just addressed that to begin with.
Well, I didn't know if you all have been able to gather something.
We're not going to speculate. We're not going to speculate on that.
So you all have not spoken with him today at all?
We're not going to address that.
In all of your years of being in the police department, have you ever seen something like this?
Well, yes, ma'am. I worked in Birmingham in homicide in the 90s, so actually I've seen a lot of it. You know.
Involving a pastor?
No, I can't. I don't recall any pastors.
You don't have to have the pastor's condition.
He's stable.
How exactly were you guys notified?
The neighbor called. When Miss Greer went next door, they called us.
Can you say anything as to the shots? How many times Mrs. Greer was hit?
No, sir, we're not going to talk about that. There was an autopsy performed this morning, but we're not going to talk about that.
Chief, has this family or this residence had any history with Gardendale Police Department recently?
To my knowledge, we've had no calls there at all.
Has there been any history of when the family was in the Decatur area serving at a church up there that you are aware of?
I'm not aware of anything.
I know there's been a recent arrest of a worship leader there.
Yes, ma'am.
For solicitation of a child.
Mm-hmm.
For any reason at all, do you believe that Pastor Greer may have some connection to that crime?
Well, if you're asking if this was the cause, it may have been the cause of it, it'd be purely speculative. As far as we know, there's no relation.
This 18-year-old is obviously 18 years old, beginning of her adult portion of her life. Just as a police officer, as a human being, as maybe a father, I'm not sure you are, but perhaps as a father, what does she have ahead of her?
She's going to have a hard time, there's no doubt, which is why we all need to support her.
if she had not been able to get that gun away from her father, would this have been a more horrible situation?
I have no way of knowing. I mean, it could have been worse, no doubt. You know, if he'd still had a weapon like that with him, yes.
Can you tell us where he stabbed himself?
Yeah, I believe I can tell you that, in the chest area and the neck.
Do you believe that he was trying to kill himself before you all got there? Is that
Based upon the statements we have from our responding officers, that does seem to be his intent.
Was the weapon registered in his name or the family's name?
We don't have registration in the state of Alabama.
Do you have any notion as to why he used a knife on himself when he had a firearm? Had he basically used his ammo?
He did not have a firearm. The daughter took the firearm.
Okay.
Was he still conscious when police arrived?
He was.
Did he make any statement at all to officers?
He did, but I can't divulge what that would be.
Was Mrs. Greer conscious when she left the home?
We're not going to talk about that.
Can you say where she was shot or the daughter?
No, ma'am.
Chief, can you tell if there was intent to injure the daughter or if that happened incidentally with her taking the weapon away?
There was absolutely intent.
Neighbors seem like they didn't really know that family too well. Is that the same consensus you're getting in your process of talking to neighbors?
Well, as I understand, they've only been here since June, and there have been a number of medical issues with him since then. So, I don't know. I mean, I think the next door neighbors may have had a little more contact, but you know, they're newcomers to Gardendale.
Is there any word that you have to the community? Obviously, this is a small community. This is a pretty major event for this community. So many questions that they have that you all at this point either cannot or will not, because of investigative reasons, answer. But is there anything that you can say to help the community that is grappling with this issue tonight?
Just what we've already said, that they should be supportive of the members of the church down there who I know who are going through a very traumatic time, and but especially to this young lady who has undergone this terrible event. We need to be all very supportive.
And she is going to be okay?
That is our understanding.
Do they have any other family in the area that you know of, or are they?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Do you know where they were in? The pastor was pastoring a church in Decatur. Do you know if he is a native of Alabama, or?
Just what I've read in the media is that he was from Tennessee, so I don't know how long he was in Decatur.
Don't know if you can say this, but at this point, do you believe that was this all at one time? Was the daughter maybe away from the home and came in while this was happening?
This is all at once.
All at once. And intentional on his part?
Absolutely.
How long have you been chief, and how many homicides in that period since you've been chief?
Since I've been chief here, I've been 5.5 years. And, you know, this is a quiet community. We've only had 4. I would like to commend my people, though, even though we don't see this a whole lot. They've done an outstanding job, first of all, in response yesterday, clearing the house and, of course, locating him and restraining him, making sure medical attention was brought in, and an excellent job so far in our investigation.
Did he resist arrest?
Trying to think how this would affect maybe our road ahead of us as far as prosecution is concerned. I would say yes.
Can you expound upon that?
I'd have to say something for the trial.
Is the home considered at this point still a crime scene, or are you still investigating?
No, sir. We have already released it. We released it. That's a church parsonage, and we released it last night to the trustees of the church.